You know what hurts more than being written out of your family's will? Watching the golden child destroy everything your parents built, and then realizing karma kept the receipts. I'm talking federal investigation level receipts. My name doesn't matter, but what happened to my brother? That's a story you need to hear. Because sometimes revenge doesn't need your help. Sometimes you just need to get out of the way and let greed do the heavy lifting. Stick around until the end, because the IRS audit results? Chef's kiss. Let me set the scene. My parents spent 35 years building a commercial cleaning business from nothing. My dad started with one van, a mop, and contracts with 3 office buildings. By the time I was in high school, we had 40 employees and cleaned everything from hospitals to corporate headquarters. I grew up in that business. I'm talking summers scrubbing toilets at age 12. Weekends doing payroll with my mom. I learned the client contracts, the employee schedules, the supply orders. I loved it. It wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. My older brother Marcus? Different story. Marcus was the golden child. Straight A's, basketball scholarship, business degree from a good school. He was supposed to take over the family empire. There was just one problem. Marcus thought he was too good for the family business. While I was learning the ropes, Marcus was networking at country clubs. While I was building relationships with our clients, Marcus was chasing tech startups and crypto schemes. He'd show up for family dinners and call our business small time and unsexy. But here's the thing about golden children. They stay golden even when they tarnish. When my dad died suddenly 5 years ago, my mom was devastated. The business became her entire identity. And when she got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer 2 years later, the will became her obsession. I hoped, that after everything I'd done, after literally managing the business while she went through chemo, that I'd at least get a piece of it. We never talked about it directly, but I was there. Every single day. The lawyer called us both in 3 weeks after her funeral. I'll never forget sitting in that conference room. The lawyer cleared his throat and said, "The business, all assets, and controlling interest go to Marcus." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Marcus got everything. The contracts, the equipment, the building we owned, the client list I'd personally cultivated. Everything. Me? I got $15,000 and some of her jewelry. $15,000 for 20 years of my life. Marcus didn't even look surprised. He just nodded like of course this was how it would go. Like he deserved it for existing. The lawyer explained that my mom believed Marcus's business degree and vision would take the company to the next level. That I was too operational and not strategic enough. I was too stunned to even cry. I just signed the papers and left. Marcus called me that night. "Hey, so listen, I'm going to restructure everything, but I'll need you to stay on for a few months to train my new management team. I can pay you, let's say $40,000 a year?" 40,000. I'd been making 75,000 as the de facto operations manager. I said, "No thanks. Good luck, Marcus." He laughed. "Come on, don't be like that. You know you need this job." I hung up. And then I made a decision. I wasn't going to burn anything down. I was just going to walk away and let Marcus be the genius he thought he was. I took my $15,000 and got a job with a competitor across town. Not out of spite, just survival. Turned out, all those client relationships I'd built? They knew my name. Within 3 months, I was their top account manager. Meanwhile, I heard through the grapevine that Marcus was making bold moves. He fired half the staff and replaced them with contractors to reduce overhead. He renegotiated contracts with clients to squeeze out higher margins. He stopped buying the premium cleaning supplies we'd always used and switched to the cheapest stuff available. Our family's reputation had been built on reliability and quality. Marcus's reputation was being built on cutting corners. 6 months in, I started getting calls from our old clients. The hospitals were complaining about sanitation issues. The corporate offices were furious about inconsistent service. People were asking me if I'd come back. I always gave them the same answer: "That's not my company anymore. You'd have to talk to the owner." And they'd sigh and say they already had. And that Marcus didn't seem to care. 1 year in, I heard Marcus had lost 3 of our 5 biggest contracts. The company my parents built was hemorrhaging money. But here's where it gets interesting. Because while Marcus was running the business into the ground operationally, he was apparently thriving personally. New luxury car, designer clothes, posts from vacation in the Maldives. All while claiming the business was struggling, and he couldn't afford to pay employees competitive wages. Something wasn't adding up. I got the first hint something was really wrong from our old bookkeeper, Patricia. She'd worked for my parents for 20 years, and Marcus fired her in month 2 of his reign. She called me out of nowhere. I need to talk to you about something. Coffee? We met the next day. Patricia looked exhausted. I've been losing sleep over this, she said. After your mom died, I noticed some discrepancies in the books. I mentioned it to Marcus, and he told me to mind my own business. Then he fired me and brought in his own accountant. What kind of discrepancies? I asked. She slid a folder across the table. I made copies before I left. Your mom kept immaculate records. But in the last 6 months of her life, while she was really sick, there were withdrawals. Large ones. 50,000 here, 70,000 there, all marked as business expenses, but with no documentation. My blood went cold. How much total? Over $300,000. I stared at the papers. Marcus had been skimming from the business while our mother was dying. While I was literally holding her hand through chemo, he was stealing from her. Why are you showing me this? I asked. Patricia looked me dead in the eye. Because your parents were good people. And what he's doing isn't just theft from the business. If he's been mixing personal and business funds and not reporting it properly. She didn't have to finish. Tax fraud, that's what she was implying. I can't prove anything, she continued. But I thought you should know. And maybe someone should look into it. I want to be very clear about something. I didn't fabricate anything. I didn't plant evidence. I didn't make false reports. But I did make a phone call. I called the IRS whistleblower hotline and reported suspected tax fraud at my family's business. I provided dates, approximate amounts, and suggested they might want to look at personal versus business expense classifications. Then I sent an anonymous email to the Department of Labor suggesting they investigate employee misclassification, since Marcus had converted employees to contractors without proper justification. And then I waited. The IRS doesn't move fast, but when they move, they're thorough. 8 months later, I heard through the cleaning industry network that Marcus's business was being audited. A full forensic audit going back 3 years. I didn't celebrate. I just kept working, building my own career, staying far away from the drama. Then, about 14 months after my phone call, I got a call from Marcus. He was crying. They're destroying me, he sobbed. The IRS found. They're saying I owe over $400,000 in back taxes and penalties. They're putting liens on everything. The business, the building, even my house. I let him talk. And there's a criminal investigation. For fraud. My lawyer says I might go to prison. He paused. Then, did you have anything to do with this? I chose my words carefully. Marcus, I haven't thought about that business in over a year. But if you were mixing personal and business money, that's on you. Mom and Dad taught us better than that. I needed the money, he shouted. The business was failing. I was trying to save it. By stealing from it? I asked quietly. Silence. I need your help, he finally said. I need you to testify that this was all just accounting errors. That Dad used to do the same thing. Please, I'm not going to lie to federal investigators, Marcus. You're my brother. And you got everything. The business, the legacy, the opportunity. All you had to do was not be a criminal. That's all you had to do. I hung up. The full results of the audit were devastating. Marcus had been skimming funds for over 2 years, including before our mother died. He'd taken over $600,000 total, classified it as business expenses, and paid 0 taxes on it. He'd also been underreporting employee wages and pocketing the difference in payroll taxes. The IRS hit him with a bill for nearly $700,000 in back taxes, penalties, and interest. The criminal case took another year, but eventually Marcus pleaded guilty to tax evasion and wire fraud. He got 18 months in federal prison and 5 years probation. The business? Bankrupt. The building my parents bought? Seized. The legacy they built? Gone. And here's the really beautiful part. As part of the bankruptcy proceedings, the court appointed a trustee to liquidate assets. And guess who got hired as a consultant to help transition the remaining contracts? That's right. The competitor I'd been working for acquired the client list, and I managed the whole transition. I got to personally call every single one of our old clients and tell them they'd be taken care of. Some of them actually cheered. 3 years later, I'm now a partner in that company. We've grown significantly, in part because we absorbed the best parts of what my parents built. Marcus got out of prison last year. He works at a car wash now. We don't talk. Here's what I learned: sometimes the best revenge is just making sure the truth comes out. I didn't destroy Marcus. His greed destroyed him. I just made one phone call that invited people to look at what was already there. My parents built something beautiful through honesty and hard work. Marcus inherited it and immediately started looting it like a pirate. He thought he was smarter than everyone else. Turns out, the IRS is pretty smart too. Do I feel guilty? Sometimes. He's still my brother. But then I remember sitting in that lawyer's office, being told I wasn't strategic enough. Being offered $40,000 to train my replacement. Watching him steal from our dying mother. And I remember that I didn't create his consequences. I just stopped protecting him from them. The business my parents built is gone, but its spirit lives on in what I'm building now. And this time, nobody can take it away from me. So that's my story. My mom left everything to the golden child, and the golden child turned it into fool's gold. What would you have done in my situation? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've got your own revenge story about family, inheritance, or karma coming full circle, I want to hear it. Hit that like button if you think Marcus got what he deserved, and subscribe because I've got plenty more stories where justice is served cold. See you in the next one.